do feel like this. I feel like I need to prove it on my own and I can do it by myself. And I said, well, we're all here together. If that is just not something that they can experience with their family members, it's actually okay. Hi, I'm Shirlyn, SRT Teacher and Consultant. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to clear or work with teenagers and family trauma. I had an experience with one of my clients. He was 18 years old at the time. His mother, who had been a client of mine, wanted me to have a session with him to work on his relationship with his father, because his father wanted to reconnect with him as he was going to college and help him pay for college. So when I spoke with this young man, I asked him, well, tell me a little bit more about your relationship with your dad and why you may want to reconnect with him. And immediately he said, I don't want to reconnect with him. He said, my father was abusive, and he told me the different incidents that happened where his father physically abused him. Because of this, he really had a lot of resentment to men. He had a lot of resentment about people in authority because his father is wealthy and has a government position in a particular country and is very influential. And because his father was influential, this is why he wanted to reconnect with him, to make things easier for him, make his college path, his career path easier. And this is something that the son didn't want, but the mother was really pushing for. So I told him, well, okay, why don't we focus then on clearing this anger and this resentment that you had towards your dad? Not so that you can reconnect with him, because this is not what you want, but so that you can heal yourself. And he agreed with that. He said, okay, yes, I do have a lot of anger. I have a lot of hate. I don't like when I get into these rages because I wasn't able to express this to him. When I work with teenagers, for the most part, and even kids, I really don't discuss the past life details with them, because it's really not about them understanding the details. It's about them understanding the emotions that they're having now and how they've had this pattern for a while. So generally I'll say, well, yeah, what you said, anger, yes, there's a lot of anger. There's even like a program, meaning like you have this big, huge, like long-term pattern of this, and this is what we're going to clear. There was a lot of self-limitation because he's limiting himself because of his father. Like, he doesn't want any help from his father. So not that he should accept anything from his father, but I told him, we don't want you to limit yourself from other people who may reach out to help you. And he said, okay, I can understand that. Yes, I do feel like this. I feel like I need to prove it on my own and I can do it by myself. And I said, well, we're all here together. There's this concept of oneness. We're all created from spirit to come down, and we find those and we attract those who have similar vibrations that we do, who can help us and make life easier for ourselves. So this is what we're clearing. So after clearing all of this anger and resentment, etc., that he still had this huge anger towards his father. So I said, okay, well, let's do a forgiveness meditation. And again, this is not focused on you like having to reconnect with your father. This is all about you healing yourself. It's like someone who has an ulcer, right? That means that they're stressed and they have a lot of stress or a lot of anger, and they're putting all of that stress into their stomach, which can cause physical symptoms. I said, so this is all about making sure that you're not causing any unnecessary mental, emotional, and physical symptoms for yourself. So we did the forgiveness meditation, and we had to do it 10 times. For him, there was so much unforgiveness that he had to do it 10 times, and he was willing to do it because he understood the purpose, which is about him coming to a place of peace. So after we did it 10 times, then he could feel more neutral about his father. He said, okay, well, I can understand now that maybe there was a huge lesson that I needed to learn, and this is why I had this experience, because I know that this is not how I want to treat people, and I know that I want to be a different father when I become a father. I want to become a different role model for people. He said, and now I feel like I can do it without the anger, without like, oh, I'm not going to be like him. It's more like, oh, okay, now I feel more at peace just being myself. So eventually he came came to neutrality. He felt more open, more loving about himself. And he even said, like, I really feel more loving towards my mom. He said, I always love my mom. She's like my hero. He said, but wow, I have even more love for her. And I said, wow, that's great. And I said, that love is just going to keep growing and growing because you have more love for yourself. So you're able to express more love to others, especially those who you feel close with. Sometimes when we're working with clients, we think that there has to be like, oh yes, okay, they love each other and they're reconnected and everything's like so great. Well, you know what? For him, everything is so great. He's not going to reconnect with his father. This was a decision that he made, and we have to honor the decision that someone makes that is for their health and well-being. And for him, that's what it was. The focus for me working for him is, how do we get to a place of peace? How do we get to a place of love of self? Because this is what is most important for all of us. But for anyone who's gone through a family trauma, that is hard for them to heal from. And it's hard for them to have a different perspective about life. A lot of times we have these expectations, right? Especially with family. Like, family must always stay together. Family must always connect. We must always be there for each other. It's a nice concept. However, when we're in families where there's a lot of abuse or where there's a lot of emotional harm, mental harm, you really have to ask yourself, does this family member make them feel at peace? Does this family member help them feel love for themselves or for others? And if that is just not something that they can experience with their family members, it's actually okay. It's really important for us to remain neutral. Have the intention of clearing for whatever is for the highest good for the client. They selected these people and to be in this family for a specific reason, to learn something about themselves and to grow and to expand. And sometimes the journey with family does come to an end, and then we create another pathway in order to continue to learn and grow.